Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, we are from group 4 and we will present our material that is grammar and syntax. But first, let me introduce the member of the group. I'm Johara Anastasia and my friend Julia Indriani and Mutiara Arisa Pratiwi. Okay. First, English grammar. Grammar is the process of describing the structure of phrase and sentence in such a way that we account for all the grammatical sequence in the language and rule out all the ungrammatical sequences. Each language has different way to forming the grammatical phrase or sentence. Studying grammatical in this way has a very long traditional grammar. The term traditional grammar refers to the collection of prescriptive rules and concepts about the structure of language. Traditional grammar consists of 4 points, that is, the part of speech, agreement, grammatical gender, and traditional analysis. The part of speech is consists of noun, article, adjective, verb, adverb, preposition, pronouns, and conjunction. Pronouns are words used to refer to persons, things, place, and ideas. Articles are words a, an, and the to form noun phrase clarifying those things. Adjective is describing word. Verb is action word. Adverb is describing a verb. Preposition is used with nouns in phrase providing information about time. And then pronouns is replace a nouns, and conjunction used to make a connection. Okay, we move to agreement. Traditional grammatical analysis also give us a number of another categories, include number, person, tense, voice, and gender. This category can be discussed in isolation, but their role in describing language structure become clearer when we consider them in terms of agreement. For example, from sentence Katie loves her dogs. Verb loves agree with the noun Katie in the sentence. Next, grammatical gender. Grammatical gender is based on the type of noun, masculine and feminine, and it's not tied to sex. In this latter sense, nouns are classified according to their gender class, and typically articles and adjectives have different from to agree with the gender of the nouns. Grammatical gender different with natural gender. That natural gender based on sex, that's male or female. Grammatical gender is a very important category for the description of a number of languages, including Latin, but not for another language such as English. Okay, next is traditional analysis. In traditional grammar books, tables such as the following were often presented for the analysis of English verbs, constructed by analogy with tables in Latin grammar. In Latin, the descriptive categories characterize verb form, but they don't really describe different form in English. In English, it makes more sense to say the categories can be used to describe different form or pronouns of pronouns or nouns. Okay, next, the prescriptive approach. Another thing to go on the claim that the structure of English sentence should be like the structure of sentence in Latin. View of grammar as a set of rules for the proper use of the language is still to be found today and may be best characterized as the prescriptive approach. Following these types of rules, traditional teachers would correct sentences like, "What did you go with?" to "With whom did you go?" making sure that the preposition "with" not at the end of sentence. Okay, next is Captain Kirk infinitive. The infinitive in English has the form to plus the best form of the verb, as in to go, and can be used with an adverb such as boldly. Captain Kirk always used to express the expression to boldly go. This is an example of a split infinitive. Okay, next material will be explained by Julia Indriani.
A descriptive approach is an approach in which the analyst collects a sample of the language they are interested in and tries to describe the regular structure of the language used, not according to some view of how that language should be used. The descriptive approach has two types. First, structural analysis. Structural analysis focuses on the distribution of form categories in a language. This method uses the use of a test frame, which can be a sentence with an empty slot in it. Second, constituent analysis. An approach with the same goal is called constituent analysis, teaching to show how small constituents come together to form larger constituents. And then subject and object. Use the term subject and object to describe the different functions of a noun phrase in a sentence, because English uses the way in a sentence to denote a grammatical function. We can usually identify the subjects as the first noun phrase before the verb and the object as the noun phrase after the verb. The other phrase at the end of our example sentences is an adjunct, often a prepositional phrase which typically provides additional information such as where, when, or how the subject verb the object. Word order. The basic linear order of constituent in English is noun phrase, verb, noun phrase, or NP, V, NP. And its typical grammar function is subject, verb, object, or SVO. The most common pattern is actually subject, object, verb, or SOV. As illustrated in the Japanese sentences end with a verb at the end of the sentence. Japanese is the last language for verbs. Let's look the image. In verb initial language, the sentence begins with the verb, as illustrated in the Image Scottish Gaelic has a verb subject object or VSO order, and Malagasy spoken in Madagascar has a verb object subject or VOS order. Note that in Gaelic and Malagasy the adjective is placed after the noun, translate as dog, pig. Language typology. The use of word order patterns such as SVO or VOS to talk about different types of language is part of a more general area of study known as language typology. This is the study of similarities in the grammatical structure of language that allow them to be classified as members of the same type or group. Syntax. The structure and ordering of components within a sentence. We are studying the syntax of a language. The word syntax comes from Greek and literally means union or arrangement. In the previous approach, there was an attempt to produce an accurate description of the order or order of the arrangement of elements in the linear structure of the sentence. Syntactic rules. Small and finite set of rules is sometimes described as a generative grammar because it can be used to generate or produce sentence structure and not just describe them. Its analysis should take into account all grammatically correct phrases and sentences and only grammatically correct phrases and sentences in any language. In other words, if we write rules for the creation of well-formed structures, we must check that those rules, if applied logically, will not result in poorly formed structures. We must also take extra care in shaping the rules that underlie the structure of prepositional phrase in English. We might have better success with the rule that states that we put a preposition before a noun phrase, not just a noun.
I will continue about deep and surface structure. First is surface structure, that is the different syntactic forms they have as individual English sentence. I will give you two examples. First is Charlie broke a window and the window broken by Charlie. For the first example, that is active voice, which is focus on what Charlie did, and for the second example is passive voice, focus on the window and what happened on it. So from this example, which is that example explain about the different syntactic forms they have as individual English sentence. And for the deep structure is the basic components noun phrase plus verb plus noun phrase shared by the two sentences that can be presented. For the example, I will give you previous example from the Charlie broke a window and the window broken by Charlie. For the deep structure from this example is it was Charlie who broke the window and was the window broken by Charlie. From this example, we explain about the two sentences that can be represented. The next is about structural ambiguity. structural ambiguity is there are two or more possible meanings. It has two distinct underlying interpretations that have to be represented differently in deep structure. For example, say that we have two distinct deep structures. For the first express is Annie had an umbrella and she bumped into a man with it. And for the second express is Annie bumped into a man and the man happened to be carrying an umbrella. From this expression, from these expresses, we can be presented as surface structure form as Annie bumped into a man with an umbrella. So structural ambiguity that is there that is have two or more possible meanings.
The next material is about the syntactic analysis. In syntactic analysis, we use some conventional abbreviations for the parts of speech. For abbreviations phrase, we use NP for noun phrase and VP for verb phrase, which is in verb phrase consists of verb and noun phrase. There are three symbols that we use in syntactic analysis. The first is the form of an arrow. As you can see on the PPT, the symbols of these the symbols of an arrow is like that. NP, an arrow, articulation, and noun. That is noun phrase consists of articulation and noun. And for the second symbol is the pair of round brackets. As you can see on the PPT, the symbols is like that, which is we can read noun phrase consists of articulation, adjective, and noun. The function of round brackets is used in middle of articulation and noun. And the third symbols is the form of curly brackets. As you can see on the PPT, this indicate the only one of the elements enclosed within the curly brackets must be selected. For as you can see on below, noun phrase consists of articulation, adjective, noun, proposition, and proper noun. And noun phrase consists of proper noun. I will give you an example. For example, like John saw the big dog. John is noun phrase and saw the big dog is VP, which is saw is V verb and the big dog is noun phrase. The big dog consists of articulation, adjective, and noun. So the next material is about the phrase structure rules, which is the structure of a phrase of a specific type will consist of one or more constituents in a particular order. As you can see on the PPT, S for sentence consists of noun phrase and verb phrase. NP,
noun phrase consists of articulation, adjective, noun, pronoun, and proper noun. And VP consists of and VP for phrase consists of verb and noun phrase. For the phrase structure rules, we can use a diagram or tree diagram, like for example like this. Sentence consists of noun phrase and verb phrase. And for noun phrase consists of articulation and noun. And for noun phrase also we can use adjective for the middle. Noun phrase consists of articulation, adjective, and noun. I think you cannot see the tree diagram or diagram that I shown to you, but you can see on the books, and I also give you some example about that. And for the next material is about lexical rules that specify which words can be used when we rewrite constituents such as PN, proper noun. The first rule in the following set states that a proper noun rewrites as John or Mary. As you can see, for the proper noun rewrites as John or Mary, articulation consists or rewrites as a, the, and an. And for noun consists of girl, dog, boy, and others. For adjective consists of big, small, beautiful, handsome, and others. For V or verb consists of followed, help, saw, and others. And for pronoun is consists of it and you. And for the next material is for tree diagrams. Actually, phrase structure rules, lexical rules, and tree diagrams, they have a relationship that phrase structure rules and lexical rules. We should draw a tree diagram. A tree diagram is one of the best ways to create a visual representation of underlying syntactic structure is through tree diagrams. We can use the symbols introduced in articulation, noun phrase to label parts of the tree. We can use a similar tree diagram to represent the structure of an English verb phrase. And for the example of tree diagram of an English sentence, that is, the girl saw a dog. So on the top is sentence consists of noun phrase and verb phrase. Noun phrase consists of articulation and noun, that is the girl, and verb phrase consists of verb and noun phrase, which is verb is saw. And for noun phrase consists of articulation and noun, which is articulation on the example is a, and for the noun is dog. I think that's all from our group's presentation. Thank you.